Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is going to be one on a saber that I had a subscriber actually send me. He offered to send me, one of 4 sabers to review that he has. So this isn't, a paid promotion. This isn't, a sponsorship. This isn't anything like that. What this is a subscriber, out of their own generosity decided to take a chance and send this saber to me, and I will be doing, some reviews and comparisons, all that kind of stuff with this saber. Now, what this is the Electrum SaberCrafts Evo-Flex. So I have it right here, right there. It has light weathering. I'm going to go over all the specs in just a second. He sent me the order confirmation thing with all the specs on it. So I'm going to go over that in just a second. We can actually, build it out on the Electrum SaberCrafts website so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's go over it right now. Evo-Flex. They have, let's see. I think they have more, they have more designs now than when I originally covered Electrum SaberCrafts in a video a while back. They have now the Ebon Razor, however you say that. It's the dark saber style. And, they have all of these. They don't have a ton of designs, but their designs are pretty good. All right, so Greebly thumb screw color. This one is brass for this saber. Retention screw color. This one is black oxide. Select your switch plate design. This one is 24 karat gold black ion right here, adds $10. It looks really good in my opinion. Switch plate color is black. Switch top input backlighting is red. The switch middle input backlighting is amber, and then the switch bottom input backlighting is also red. Select your blade type. He has a Neopixel string blade, and it's 36 inches, so this third one right here, plus $135. Pick your free included sound font, and he included diadium, weathering plus 1 week lead time. He did light weathering, add pommel D-ring, pommel D-ring. So as you can see right here, USD $539, so $539 US for this saber. And he included in the order notes, do the best light weathering job of your life or something like that. So the light weathering actually looks really good in my opinion. I'll show it in just a second. But I really like the design of this saber. Now, there are some things that I'll go over that Electrum SaberCrafts does that, I don't love entirely. But, they have certain things that they do that, it's kind of strange, I would say, but not entirely bad, if you know what I'm saying. So I'll go over that in just a second. Remember, I'm going to do multiple videos on this saber and, Electrum in general before, I send it back to the subscriber. But, this is just, what he kitted this saber out with. And then he also included a few sound fonts. So if you go to Electrum store and then sound fonts, I think you add the saber to the cart and you can add more sound fonts. Dantari already has diadium. That was the free included one. Durin Fire, Hurricane, and Kiksoni right here. And Kinetic as well. So those are the ones that he included. So the saber has 6 sound fonts. That's not a ton. And the fact that, the saber has 1 included free sound font. So you can see right here it says our D3 saber core can hold up to 50 sound fonts. The weird thing is when I was looking at the owner's manual thing or the quick start guide or whatever it's called, it only said that you can hold 8 sound fonts at a time. So not exactly sure what that's about. I don't know if that's, incorrect info or something, but that's what I saw on their site is that you can only hold 8 sound fonts according to the owner's manual. And then on here it says up to 50. So not exactly sure. But, that's just my experience so far. So after shipping, all that stuff, the cost, the grand total for that saber was $611.50. And that's including, the saber and the 5 sound fonts that he purchased extra. Each of those sound fonts cost $6.50 extra. So $40 shipping, which is pretty steep. But, I believe it's Canada to United States. So sometimes the shipping can get kind of expensive. They're not based in the United States. Electrum SaberCrafts is based in Canada, so shipping can be kind of expensive sometimes, but that's to be expected with all saber companies. Most saber companies are going to have expensive shipping, or they have the shipping built into the cost, like Crimson Dawn and some of the other, LGT saber companies based in the United States. And you'll see stuff like that with, the POC Store and Saber Trio and all these other companies. The shipping costs can be kind of expensive because they're shipping international. They're not based in the United States. So let's take a look at the saber. I'm not going to do functionality in this video because there is an update for Electrum SaberCrafts sabers that are supposed to be coming soon. And I don't think it would be fair to show off the old functionality because it's supposed to be a massive improvement. So my opinion on the functionality right now as is isn't that great. If you want to see the functionality, let me know down in the comments section. I just don't find it to be that great right now. It may change with the new update that's coming. I believe it's supposed to be coming at the end of January, but I haven't really heard anything, or I mean, I'm not in contact with their owner or anything like that. But from what I understand, it's supposed to bring a massive improvement. But as it stands right now, the functionality, you know, the app, especially the app, is pretty awful in my opinion. I mentioned in a community post that I've recorded like 40 plus minutes of raw footage. The sound didn't work on it. You know, the app was bugging out really, really bad. It just like messed up the whole video. So, I mean, this is the first time that I can actually record a decent video with this Saber. And it's been a few weeks since I've had it. And I've just been, you know, trying to toy with it and stuff. But I kind of want to wait until that new update so I can give it a fair review. I don't want to, you know, give a review on the old functionality and then the update comes out and it's totally different and way better. And then people are, you know, dissuaded from buying from Electrum or something like that. That's not what I want to do. I really like Electrum SaberCrafts, and I think they're good people. So I want to give them their fair shot in terms of functionality. So I may wait to do, you know, a functionality review until after that update. If you want to see a comparison between the old functionality and the new functionality, the new update and all that stuff, then I can probably do that. Just let me know down in the comment section. So here's the Saber right here. You can see that gold, 24 karat gold plated switch plate right there. You can kind of see. So the Evo-Flex isn't a Graflex replica. So you know, a Graflex is the Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith. I'll tell you why quotes in just a second. Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back. This is inspired by it. Now I use the quotes when I'm talking about Anakin because technically the saber that Anakin uses in Revenge of the Sith is a different saber than what Luke uses in A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. The Anakin saber is called the Anti-Flex or the Skinny Flex or the Slim Flex, whatever you want to call it. It's a different design. If you look at the pictures, they're somewhat similar, but they are pretty different. And then A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, if you go check the Wanawanga guide, Roy did a great job, or Roy and whoever else worked on it, they did a great job on that, and you can see exactly how the sabers change between the movies. So that has nothing to do with this, but I'm just saying the Anakin saber is different from the Luke saber. So people get that confused all the time. So this saber is more of a inspired by design on the Luke Graflex style saber, although I will say that it is very slim. So that is kind of where the Anakin aspect comes from, but this saber is incredibly slim. This is probably one of the slimmest sabers that I have here to compare it to, besides, you know, like the Poxtor Shiva. I mean, that thing's really, really thin. But even at the section right here with the little T-tracks, these aren't huge T-tracks. I mean, they're tiny. But, I mean, my entire hand wraps around it with my thumb over like that. And I don't have huge hands either. So, I mean, this is pretty slim. Now, I will say this. The design is really nice. So let me just go over the design before I say something about the slim aspect. So kind of see the bunny ears here. It's a little greebly right here, the brass greebly. And you have the pins, or the pins. That's kind of like something that is directly inspired from the Graflex. These aren't, you know, hokey or anything like that. These are flat, but that is pretty cool. Blade retention screws right here. I think the Neopixel module retention screw is right here. I don't think this greebly comes out at all. This little, it looks like a thumb screw, but I can't get it to come out, and I kind of don't want it to come out. So if that's anything, it may be, you know, retention, but I don't think it does anything other than, you know, add aesthetics. So it has these vents right here. You can't see anything in these vents. These are, you know, these are faux vents. There's no light coming through right here or anything like that. There's a little bit of light shine through right here. This is kind of reminiscent of the Saber Trio Vectra. You know, this emitter right here. So forget about this piece right here. This piece right here on the emitter is kind of reminiscent of the Saber Trio Vectra. You know, that afterburner style emitter. Obviously, Saber Trios is cut to the top. This is just like a tiny little window. Saber Trios goes to the top, and it's like open. But it's just something I noticed. It lets light shine through right here when the blade's in. So you can see the vents right there, the switch plate, the 3 buttons, and you can see this section here. There's like another vent. I think this is meant for sound venting. There is sound, a little bit of sound that comes through here. And then you got the D-ring on the bottom, and then these sound hole cutouts. I think there are 6. Yeah, there's 6 with the D-ring. It's a pretty nice D-ring, I will say that. So let me take the Saber apart. So the chassis, you can unscrew the grip section here, the pommel right here in the middle. It comes unscrewed right there. A decent amount of threads on it. And then you can see the chassis. So the chassis is really nice. It's pretty rare to see a chassis like this. Most Saber companies and most installers don't use metal chassis ever. They use, you know, like a resin or a 3D printed or something like that. But they have like a metal outer chassis design, which is really intricate actually. I actually really like it. So it may be hard to see on camera, but right here, there is a micro USB port. And then right here, there's a kill switch. And then on the other side, once again, it may be hard to see, but that little black thing right there, that little flat black thing, that is where the micro SD card comes from. So you can take that micro SD card out, put it in the computer, and you can, you know, add sound fonts and stuff. So the charging, I believe the charging is through the micro USB port here. Not exactly sure how fast it charges. Most Neopixel Sabers are not very fast charging anyway, unless you do a removable battery system, but you cannot remove the battery on this. There's no way to get this metal chassis off without probably like breaking it, and I'm not going to do that. So the speaker, this is something that I will discuss a lot when I compare this Saber to other Sabers that I own, and when I compare, you know, the sound fonts and all that kind of stuff to other Sabers that I own, is that this is a 24mm speaker. Now you may be like, okay, well, what does that mean? I've talked about it in the past. One of the main things that I look for in Sabers is that it has a 28mm bass speaker. Now, 4mm may not make a difference to you. You may not even know the difference. If you don't use a metric system, I don't even use a metric system, but I know the difference. 4mm of speaker and the kind of speaker that it is makes a massive difference in the grand scheme of things. So 24mm speaker, I believe this is like a 24mm premium speaker. You can find these on Electrum's store too. You can buy extra speakers and stuff. They actually have a video showing, you know, how to get the speaker out. There's these 2 little black tabs on each side. You kind of like push them together and you pull the speaker out, and there's like a little cable thing in there and a little connector. The 24mm speakers, I believe these are like the premium style speakers, you know, maybe from the Custom Saber shop, or maybe they made these themselves, but they kind of look like the Custom Saber shop style speakers. 24mm versus 28mm bass speaker is a huge difference in terms of, you know, dynamic range, in terms of, you know, the bass. There are certain frequencies that these speakers cannot hit, and when it does try to hit it, it sounds very muddy. 28mm bass speakers like a Smuggler's Outpost Elite, a full range bass speaker, they can hit those frequencies easily, and, you know, with flying colors. But this speaker is one of those ones, it really can't hit certain frequencies, and when it tries to, it doesn't sound that great. Now, I will say that this sounds a lot better than some of the budget Sabers on the market. Definitely, there's no doubt about that. But, you know, personally for me, and this may be a nitpicky thing, and, you know, you can have this reinstalled. I'll talk about that in just a second. For $611.50, the speaker quality is kind of underwhelming. That's just my opinion. That's something that I've learned. You know, I'm blessed to have 2 Sabers with incredible speakers. I have a Saber Trio Vectra with a 28mm Veco bass speaker, and it sounds incredible. Saber Trio's speakers, the speakers that they use, the Veco speakers, are really good. The only issue is, you know, longevity of the speaker life if you use it at too high of a volume, but that's kind of every speaker on the market. And then I have my Fallen V2 that was installed by Solo Sabers, Jeremy from Solo Sabers. If you haven't gone and subscribed to Jeremy, please go do so. I'm trying to get him to 1,000 subscribers as well. So that one was installed by Jeremy of Solo Sabers, and he has a 28mm Smuggler's Outpost bass speaker in there, and that thing is gnarly. Like, it sounds incredibly good. It sounds so good. It can hit every frequency with flying colors. It's just very, very good. Now, this 24mm speaker, I think I'm going to keep calling it a 24mm premium speaker. Don't get confused on the naming. You know, people think of premium and they think it's like the best. Premium is just like a naming thing. It does not mean better than bass speaker or anything like that. It doesn't mean bass speaker is only a bass speaker. It's basically like more of a full range speaker that can do everything. There are some speakers that can do better than a bass speaker at certain aspects. There are some speakers that are better than a premium speaker at certain aspects, just like a bass speaker. But that's just one of those things. I mean, this speaker is not as good as what I have in my Fallen and what I have in my Saber Trio Vectra. So it may be a nitpicky thing to some, but there are some aspects when you're doing certain things on the Saber that it makes a huge difference. Now, some of those things may be fixed in the new update. I mean, they may be able to clean up certain things. I'm not sure. But without a really high quality speaker, it's hard to, get certain things done on the Saber. Lockups and blasters and clashes and all that kind of stuff. It gets muddied in the hum and, the smooth swing aspects of the Saber. So that's not something I have an issue with my Saber Trio. That's not something I have an issue with my custom Fallen V2. Now, I have seen something recently. Jeremy from Solo Sabers, I'll link the video that he did in the description below. He actually gutted one of these, an actual Evo-Flex from Electrum SaberCrafts. He gutted one. Someone sent it to him and he gutted it, and then he reinstalled it, I believe, with a Crystal Focus 10. Can't remember if it was a Crystal Focus 10 or a Profi, but he gutted it, did a Crystal Focus 10 or Profi install on it, and then put a crystal chamber right here, or a crystal chamber. It was really like 3 pixel LEDs right here to allow some shine through, and that looks really good. And the speaker that he put in there sounds incredibly better than what is already in here. It's just one of those things. I mean, speakers it's subjective to some, but to some people who like really know the difference, it makes a massive difference. But like I said, I'm not going to really show that off in this video. I'm not going to really show off functionality until people want to see that, if I compare it to the new functionality that's coming soon, or I'm going to just wait until that new functionality, the new update comes out, so I can give Electrum a fair shot. Because this video right here may sound like I'm just totally, dumping on Electrum SaberCrafts, and that's not what I meant to do. I meant to, just show off the Saber, show off what we're working with here, and then talk about some of the things that I needed to talk about in advance so that people aren't confused when I go to review the Saber and its functionality, and you're like, well, why are you, saying these things about it even though you've recommended it in the past? I still recommend Electrum SaberCrafts. Even with the things that I dislike about the Saber, I still think that Electrum SaberCrafts is like a top 10 company in the Saber market. It hasn't, swayed my view of them as much as to say that I hate the company or anything like that. Absolutely not. I think they're cool people. I think they're really nice people, and they do a really good job. And they provide a Saber market for Canada, other than, Genesis Custom Sabers. So I think this is really cool. I think Electrum SaberCrafts did a really good job on the Saber, even though it may be aesthetically pleasing. And that is kind of more of what I'm looking for in Sabers as of now. I'm looking for more aesthetically pleasing Sabers than, functionality wise. But even with the flaws in the functionality or the things that I dislike about its functionality, I still think it's a really good Saber. So we're going to go over the functionality and stuff in a different video. I'm going to talk about the blade in another video. The blade is one of those things. Actually, I can talk about it right now. The blade, this is the blade that I was sent. This is an Electrum SaberCrafts blade. It's kind of hard to see. It's going to be hard to pick up. It's a Neopixel blade right here. Now, the weirdest thing about this blade, and you may not be able to hear it on video, but I'm going to try it as best as I can. Yeah, I seriously doubt you can hear that because of my mic. My mic probably cannot pick that up. You may be able to hear that. Not sure. I won't know until I check the video, but there's rattling inside that blade, and that's a concern. The rattling inside the blade means that something is loose. Now, if you don't know how Neopixel blades are made, they got the diffusion film, and they got, the foam, and they have the pixel strips on the inside and all that stuff. If something's loose, that's an issue. Now, obviously, you shouldn't really duel with Neopixel blades unless it's like a Bendu Armory blade that, is a heavy grade blade and it's warranted for dueling. But if something's shaking around when doing, normal spinning and swinging and stuff, then that's an issue. So that's something I'll talk about in a later video. I just wanted to mention that was kind of shocking when I started swinging around the Saber and I can hear the insides of the blade moving around. I just thought that was kind of weird. But that's kind of the introductory video to this Saber. I know it may sound like I just kind of hated on this Saber and Electrum SaberCrafts for probably 20 minutes or so. But that's not what I meant to do. I just wanted to talk about the Saber and my, my first experience with the Saber. This Saber isn't mine. This is a subscriber's Saber that I'm going to be sending back to him. And he wanted to remain anonymous, so please don't, try to guess who it is. But this Saber is one that, I genuinely think looks really good. And I genuinely think that there are certain things that can be done to the Saber, mainly being the speaker, that would just push this Saber over the top. You know, I mean, that sounds like a tiny little nitpicky thing, but if you increase the quality of the speaker, it increases the quality of the Saber that much more. And remember, functionality wise, you know, that may be fixed with new update. I have no idea, but I will do an update video. I'll do a video on the update when it comes out. When I'll update the Saber for the subscriber, and I'll do all that kind of stuff, and I'll go over the functionality then, because I want to give Electrum a fair shot, because this video may have sounded, you know, pretty mean or something like that, but that's not what I meant to do. I just wanted to give y'all my impressions. Like I've said in the past, I'm not here to make friends. If I get a Saber to review, if I get a Saber from a subscriber to review, if a Saber company wants to send me a Saber to review or something like that, I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm not here for, you know, sponsorships and having people, you know, pay me to do reviews of their company and only to do positive reviews, and I only get paid if I do a positive review. That's not what this channel is about. I don't do that stuff. Some people may do that other stuff. I don't care. I think that's kind of lame, in my opinion, because it's not truthful. It's not honest. So this is just one of those things that on my channel, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. And I've been outspoken on certain things before, and this is one of those things that I'm going to be outspoken again. It's a big company, obviously, and there are things that I genuinely don't necessarily love about the quality that, you know, I'm going to get into. Like I said, it may be nitpicky, but I'm going to be brutally honest, so that you can make an informed decision on your purchase. So that all being said, I'm going to do another video, probably do multiple videos. I'll probably do a comparison. No, I know for a fact I'm going to do a comparison on the smooth swing between this, my Fallen V2, my Saber Trio Vectra, and I can actually do it now on my Poxtor Flight, since that has smooth swing as well. We're going to go over all that in other videos. But I just wanted to do this video first to kind of get it out of the way, because I know so many people have been waiting for me to do a video on Electrum SaberCrafts for the past 7 months or so. So I wanted to do this video, get it out there, and then I'll do more videos on it in the future. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, tell me what you want to see out of this Saber in the next few videos, and may the force be with you.